I'm Josh. Welcome to Mountain Roots. This is the 48th episode of my Exploring Appalachia series. Today, I'm headed to Rainelle, West Virginia, once home to the largest hardwood sawmill in the world. This is of particular interest to me because at one time I used to own and operate a portable custom sawmill business. So, to see the place where the largest mill once stood seemed somehow apropos. Before I make it to Rainelle on Route 60, I have to stop at Babcock State Park. It's almost obligatory to be this close to one of West Virginia's most iconic locations. And it's on the way. If you watched my previous episode about Thurman, West Virginia, this is very close to that region, within 20 miles or so of the New River Gorge Bridge. The park has over 4,000 acres to explore, but it's likely best known for the Glade Creek Gristmill, which sees tourists year-round to visit and take selfies of this fully functional replica of the original Cooper's Mill that once stood nearby. The mill does seasonally close in October, but I came out anyway because it's still well worth the visit to see this living monument to the more than 500 mills that once existed across the state. Tourists also come for the obvious scenic beauty and outdoor activities like hiking, fishing, mountain biking, and let's not forget world-class whitewater rafting in the area.
In the town on the hill where the apples grow, the church bells ring every hour or so. I took a little walk just to see the ships coming in. The sun rose up.
As I get close to Rainelle, I come upon the Sewell Mountain campaign marker. It was here, between August and October of 1861 during the Civil War, that approximately 17,000 Union and Confederate troops waited for a major battle that never came. Ultimately, it was disease and foul weather that forced Union troops to withdraw back towards the Kanawha Valley.
These old muddy shoes keep on walking the streets. Someone's bride buying Egyptian sheets. The window display of some little store in town.
Rainelle is a town just inside the western edge of Greenbrier County, West Virginia, nestled at the base of Sewell Mountain and bisected by the Meadow River. Originally called Sewell Valley, the name Rainelle was adopted in the early 1900s after the Rain family, who originally moved here from Pennsylvania to harvest a large stand of hardwoods. It was this family who started the Meadow River Lumber Company, the one I mentioned earlier that was once the largest hardwood sawmill in the world.
Carry me like a sailing ship. Comfort me before I slip.
They operated 3 9-foot bandsaws under one roof for 60 years, and at its peak, their 500 employees milled 31 million board feet of lumber per year. That's equivalent to cutting 3,000 acres of virgin timber a year.
I know it takes a lot to change a worried mind. And I know it takes a year to see the warm summertime. But I'm made of nails, man, made of tombstone and tall, tall trees. But a tombstone fades and the nails will rust. Tall oak trees, they all turn to dust. A little every day, it's so slow you can't.
The owners eventually sold the mill to Georgia Pacific Corporation in 1970, which had the mill torn down in 1975.
Find another thing to be. Lord, carry me like a sailing ship. Comfort me before I slip around the dark side of the moon. All this spinning around hurts my head.
In recent decades, the town has suffered from several natural disasters, from the devastating derecho in 2012 to Hurricane Sandy and enormous statewide flooding in 2016.
I just feel lonesome for you.
Efforts to rebuild and demolition of structures damaged in those floods was still in progress over 5 years later. An interesting discovery I came upon while driving around town was the United Methodist Church located here. Tied directly to the town's sawmill and lumber past, as well as the American chestnut tree, this structure, built in 1914, is thought to be the largest building in the world made entirely of chestnut, and its interior is made of wormy chestnut. Just before leaving town, I came upon a newer lumber operation established about 20 years ago here in Rainelle, called Meadow River Hardwood Lumber Company. Like so many of the towns I've explored throughout Appalachia, there are echoes of the past, as can be seen in this company's name and its mission, as it embodies the spirit of Appalachia into the future. As always, I hope you've enjoyed this Exploring Appalachia episode. I realize the bulk of my episodes have been concentrated in Virginia, Eastern Kentucky, East Tennessee, and West Virginia. But that's about to change. Stay tuned for the next episode as I head to a state I haven't been to before in my Exploring Appalachia series. I appreciate all your support and am thankful for everyone who watches these episodes.